keeps people safe. Scientists and engineers are leading those efforts, and the Coast Guard is embracing us. We're capitalizing on new and innovative opportunities because the Coast Guard knows and understands our value. That is where the service is truly successful. When our cutters are headfirst into a storm or our helicopters are flying over homes in Houston, engineers are there behind the scenes working to ensure Coast Guard assets are always ready to face the challenge. In 2017, my home, the U.S. Virgin Islands, was hit by two Category 5 hurricanes, leaving the islands in ruins. The Coast Guard was there. Engineers were there, rebuilding. This wasn't just another storm-ravaged island or city. This was personal. This was my home, and the Coast Guard was there. I am in complete awe of this service and its role in helping and saving people and communities, especially during times of natural disasters. There's no one-size answer to the Coast Guard's complex maritime challenges, but within the service, engineers help to propel us forward to maximize readiness today and tomorrow. I believe we stand on the shoulders of giants and look toward the ocean, and we know
Yeah.
we are defenders, we are scientists,
So this lady works for the Coast Guard,
we help
and she's a pilot, a helicopter pilot.
Oh, can you mute yourself, teacher?
Who just talked? Like,
Almost there. I think we got one more that needs to mute, right? So this is kind of the first part of the presentation. We are going to roll. It's going to roll right into another tribute part of the presentation that I want you guys to watch, and then I'm going to talk about later when we get back to me speaking.
With a quotation from Shakespeare. And the quotation is this: love all, trust few, and do right. So those are my words to everyone. Love all, trust few, and do right.
All right, so that's the end of the video. I'm gonna jump back onto the slides here. And that was Dr. Olivia Hooker, and I'm gonna talk about her in a couple more slides. So you guys are hooked, right? Like, I'm hooked on the Coast Guard. I love the mission of the Coast Guard. I love what it stands for. When I graduated flight school, my first duty station was Barbers Point, Hawaii. And that's a Pacific state all the way out pretty far, and I'll show you on the map. But we got to fly all over, and we did all sorts of interesting missions, from saving manatees and releasing them back into the wild, helping other countries with tsunamis, and any sort of other natural disasters that came up. So the top picture is the unit. I was one pilot out of a unit of 200. That's me there on the bottom left there in front of the C-130. And then the right picture there, that's just a fun photo of a C-130 on Palmyra Island, which is a small coral runway out in the Pacific. My next duty station was Clearwater, Florida, so right here in Pinellas County. And I've been stationed in Florida a few times now, and I'll talk about that. But the photo in the center is just an early morning photo of a crew getting ready to launch a C-130 there, and I just think it's such a pretty shot. The photo on the left is that's another cool shot, and one of my favorites, because you see all the green lights that are in the aircraft. those are NVG compatible lights. So we actually fly the aircraft on NVGs at nighttime sometimes when we need to look for maybe a vessel that's missing or a person that's missing. And it's really, really, really difficult to see that person in the water, especially at night. And then on the right-hand side, you see that's a photo that was taken from inside of the aircraft. We opened up the ramp and we actually have parajumpers or paratroop personnel that's jumping out of the aircraft for a training mission. After Clearwater, Florida, my next duty station was Kodiak, Alaska. So Alaska was very, very fun. As you can tell, a beautiful day in Alaska on the left-hand side where the C-130 was taxiing by. It exposed me to so many types of different sort of missions, but now just cranking up just the intensity of those missions because we're flying in and out of mountainous terrain, we're flying in and out of ice, snowstorm, and you can see one of our training missions, not really mission, but our training evolutions over to the right. We do a lot of swimming, and we actually were swimming in the middle of the winter there, right? I believe that was Women's Bay in that photo to the right. My next duty station was Washington, D.C., where I was in charge of assigning all pilots to where they were going to live, their location. So this was a staff assignment for me. I didn't fly a lot, but I got to do some cool things like visit the White House. And these photos, the one on the left is taken inside the White House. And then obviously the two on the right were outside, with the one on the right there, that's just in front of the Rose Garden at the White House. And then I'm back stationed here in Clearwater, Florida, and that's just a couple photos there with me and my crew. So for all the visual learners, here are the locations that we've talked about me living so far. The small little island in Jamaica, up to Canada, down to Florida, then out to Hawaii. After Hawaii, we came back to Florida. After Florida, we went all the way up to Alaska. After Alaska, we went to DC, and then now we're back in Florida. So, you know, today with our Black American teach-in, we do want to honor Black History Month. February is Black History Month. And for me personally, I always take some time to reflect and to think about notable people, notable crews, notable, you know, figures that have made some sort of impact on my life. And one of the interesting stories is this one, the Pea Island crew. And the Pea Island is just outside of the Outer Banks in North Carolina. And this photo was taken in the 1800s, believe it or not. 1880, we had the first Black commanding officer, Richard Etheridge, and he commanded a crew of all African Americans, and that was the Pea Island crew. And that really opened the door for a lot of other Black Americans and minorities in the Coast Guard. The second story is about Alex Haley. This was taken in 1939, and Alex Haley started as a steward in the Coast Guard. However, he loved to write. He created so many stories, so many cool stories, and the Coast Guard recognized that he was really good at writing and really good at that job. So they actually made a job for him in the Coast Guard called the journalist. And he ended up retiring after 20 years as a chief journalist. So he has won national awards. He's won a Pulitzer Prize. He's gotten over 17 honorary doctorate degrees, over 300 recognitions, and his book Roots serves as a cultural landmark in American society, as well as I think they made it into a TV docuseries as well. And here we go. So Black history first, aviators in the Coast Guard. To the left, you've got Bobby Wilkes, and that picture was taken in 1957 when he graduated flight school and became the first African-American aviator in the Coast Guard. He also promoted to the rank of captain, which he's the first African-American captain in the Coast Guard, and he was the first African-American also to command an air station in the Coast Guard. And by a show of hands, does anybody recognize the photo on the right? Yeah, that's right. So that's me. So I am the first Black female pilot in the Coast Guard. All right, and one of the last slides here, I've got one more, I think, but so another first that I would love to recognize is the first 5 Black females that did join the Coast Guard, as well as the first 5 aviators in the Coast Guard. So on the left, you'll see the first 5. The second photo there, I have my mouse over her head, that's Dr. Olivia Hooker, and that's the lady that you saw at the end of the video that I played. And I was actually at that location when she was talking about the quote from Shakespeare. So it was an honor to meet the first Black female pilot in the Coast Guard and realize that she paved the way for me to be here. More about her story is that she actually did not want to join the military, but when she found out that women were not allowed to serve, and moreover, Black women weren't allowed to serve, she went on a campaign and she said, absolutely, that is not right. We should be entitled to serve. And she paved the way for the other ladies that are also in this photo, and they're the first 5. On the right, that's me in the center, and that's the first 5 Black female pilots that are in the Coast Guard and still serving in the Coast Guard today. That picture was actually just taken 2 years ago, so not that long ago. The last slide, and I'm trying to get through these slides as quickly as possible, just in case that there's some questions on the audience. But one of the things that I really take honor in and pride is really just doing this, paving the way for the future. We have 3 other ladies that are in flight school right now. My daughter on the right there, Alyssa, in the bottom, she may be tuning in from Ozona Elementary. Everything is history. Everything we do is history. We honor the history. We honor the history because of Black history. But moreover, everything we're doing right now is paving the way and making a difference for people in the future. So everything that you do, consider the fact that you are going to be a trailblazer and you are going to pave the way and make a difference for generations and generations to come. That is the end of the slideshow, and I'm gonna stop, I guess, sharing the screen here. Let's see, stop sharing and seeing if there's any questions out in the audience that I can help answer.
All right, so let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. I am gonna help facilitate. So you're gonna raise your hand, pressing your raise the hand button on your reactions. And then as they come up, I'm gonna go in order. So you're gonna press your raise your hand button. And then I will call on you, or you can put your question in the chat because we have lots and lots of people on the call today. So we'll do it one of those 2 ways, and then Ms. Ferguson will help ask the questions. All right, so I've got Kennedy Robinson. You got your hand up. Go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Is it hard to read? Is it hard to read all of the buttons that's inside a plane?
That is a good question, Kennedy. So when I first saw all the buttons, which by the way, most of them are circuit breakers, circuit protection for a lot of the electronics that we have on the aircraft, I was intimidated. I thought there's no way I'm gonna learn what all these buttons and what all this circuit protection means. But after training, they really teach you and train you exactly how to manage, what those buttons are, what those buttons do, and how you can safely use those buttons. So even though it may be intimidating and you think, wow, that's a lot of buttons, I'll never learn it, the Coast Guard arms you with all the tools that you need to be able to understand what those buttons are and really operate the aircraft safely. So long story short, no, it is not after some training.
All right. Aiden, you've got your hand up. Go ahead and
No.
unmute
Oh, it's Adrian.
Adrian, I'm sorry. Go ahead, honey.
Oh, it's okay. So, I wanted to know what's your yearly salary?
Well, so your yearly salary is based on rank. So there's going to be
Okay.
a variety of different salaries across the entire Coast Guard. And that depends on whether you're an officer or you're enlisted and exactly what your rank is within both of those sides, right?
Okay.
So what I'll tell you is that it's public information and you can actually Google it. You can Google what the salary range is for being in the military, and that covers anyone in the military, every service, Air Force, Army, as long as they're active duty and you know what the rank is, you can Google it and you can pull up all the pay charts and figure out, hey, if I want to be this in the military and I want to, my goal is to become this rank, how much would I be paid? And you can find that information online.
Oh, okay.
All right. Thanks, Adrian. Okay. Next up looks like Miss S. Miss Lisa S. Does your class have a question?
Yes, ma'am. We have two. I have one young lady that's asking, has she ever really been scared? And another one that is asking, where did she stay overnight when she was visiting all those places?
Good question. So as far as visiting all those places, I actually lived in all those places, so that's cool. And if I had to put a pin on all the places that I've visited and spent the night, that map would be completely full of pins from traveling all over the country and all over the world, actually, lots of different other countries as well. As far as being scared, absolutely. There's been times where I've been scared before, but what I will tell you is that in the face of fear, you have to really think deep down, why are you doing the thing that you're doing that you're scared about, right? So for me, if I'm scared to take off because the weather's bad outside, I'll think, well, why do I need to take off? Is it because someone's in distress? Is it because another country really needs all the food and water that I have on the aircraft? Is it because I have some sort of aid that I can take to that other place that desperately needs it? And that takes my fear away. That tells me that, hey, look, I'm scared to do this because it might be a hard flight or a hard mission, but I really want to do this and I really need to do this. And that overpowers the fear that I have. Hopefully that makes sense to everyone.
Absolutely. It's all about being courageous and being brave and doing the mission. Absolutely. All right. Next I have, looks like Mr. Morales' class. Got your hand up?
Hi, we had a question over here. Tico, you were the one who was asking a question.
Oh,
right?
yeah. You know my uncle in the army?
He wants to know if you know his uncle in the army.
I don't think I do. Where's your uncle stationed?
Guys. Okay. He says Georgia.
Oh, yeah, I do have some friends that are in the army, but I don't know anyone that's stationed in Georgia. So I don't think I know your uncle.
And there's lots and lots of people in the military. About how many people are in the military? Would you say hundreds of thousands?
Absolutely. And I can tell you that the workforce for the Coast Guard is over 80,000 people. Now, that's probably closer to 40,000 active duty, but we do have civilians that are in the Coast Guard, and we have auxiliaries, and we have reservists that are in the Coast Guard too. So you add all that up, and we have over 80,000 people in the Coast Guard.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. All right, next up looks like Miss Wilson's class. Miss Wilson's class have a question?
Hi, Zakari had a question. Nice and loud, Zakari.
The question is, was you in the airplane? Did you ever get to control the airplane?
That's what she does. He asked if you get to control the airplane.
Absolutely. Nice question. I am at the controls of the aircraft every time I fly. And what's nice is that I have so much experience in the aircraft that I can fly in either seat. There's 2 pilot seats and I can fly in the left seat or I can fly in the right seat. I can train people, and I take people who have never flown a C-130 up flying and teach them how to fly the C-130.
Cool, cool. I think I might want to fly in an airplane in the pilot seat.
Come on over.
All right. Looks like Miss Sylvia Pabalon's class. Do you guys have a question?
Yes, actually, we're from 7th grade Avid at Madelon, and one of my students has a question. Come on.
What was your favorite memory of being in the Army?
So my favorite memory so far, so that's a good question, and that's so hard for me to answer because I've had so many awesome experiences in the Coast Guard since I've joined. I mean, from day one of standing duty, you are in a position where you're getting launched on cases, and every single place that I've been stationed, I've been a part of rescue missions that have changed the lives of other people, and all of those are dear to my heart. The most recent rescue case I had just happened last summer, and I was getting ready to get airborne on a law enforcement patrol. So we do law enforcement. We're actually one of the only active duty components in the US, period, that's allowed to do law enforcement. Anyways, as we were getting airborne, we got word that there was a fishing vessel with 6 people that were missing. And this was thousands and thousands and thousands of miles away from here, from Clearwater. So we were operating in and out of a different country, down in the down closer to South America. And we flew a couple hours to the last known position of this vessel. By the time we got there, the sun was setting. We had searched for 2 hours, couldn't find anything. After about maybe 2.5 hour mark, the sun had set, thunderstorms everywhere, completely dark. We're on NVGs trying to see through the bad weather that's rolling in. And we started to see some lights on the horizon. So we started to fly towards that direction. And at first I got nervous thinking, oh my gosh, I know there's 6 people, but I'm seeing about 30 lights out there. I hope there's not 30 people, you know, in the water, because at this point it's in the middle of nowhere, just open ocean. And when we got closer, what it turned out to be was fishing buoys. So at night, the fishing buoys had strobes on it. So it was flashing really bright and we can see it. So we just started searching around the fishing buoys, and it was just like a movie. We're looking out into the darkness and we saw one flare just shoot straight up, just like you see in the movies. And we thought, wow, someone is out there. So we headed towards that direction. And lo and behold, we found a raft with 6 people on it. Their boat had sank 2 days prior, and they were down to just a few minutes on a radio. They had run out of food, and this was their last shot. They were in the middle of nowhere, and they only had that one flare, and we just happened to be looking in the right direction when they shot it off. So that was last year. Things like that happen all the time. And I would say that is the most recent favorite experience that I've had in the Coast Guard.
My goodness, that sounds scary, but heroic. And I mean, that's amazing. You saved those people's lives. That's awesome. Connor has a question. Connor Lowry, your hand's up. Do you have a question?
I accidentally put my hand up and I didn't realize I was up. Sorry.
No worries, Connor. Thanks for saying hey. All right, Miss Campbell, you've got your hand up.
Hi, I actually have a 2-part question. One is for my student Freddie, and his question was, can you tell him about your first flight? And then the second question was, have you faced any discrimination as either a woman or a minority since you've been in the Coast Guard? Thank you.
Good questions. So my very first flight, that's the discovery flight I had in high school. And that's the flight that I fell in love with aviation. And really, I was searching for what I wanted to do. And I got fortunate enough to be in a position to know that, hey, a discovery flight, I'm open for it. I want to participate in that. And sitting behind the controls and actually taking controls of the aircraft just blew my mind. I couldn't believe that I was flying an aircraft. That was just crazy to me. It's still crazy to me. Sometimes I look out and I see big planes flying by and think, I do that. That's awesome. So that was my first flight. And I'll say that that joy that I get from flying didn't stop on the first flight. It still is something and a feeling that I get up until today. Is I just get joy when I do get to fly. And then when the mission is something like search and rescue, it just makes it everything, you know, makes the whole thing happy for me. As far as discrimination, absolutely. But I don't think that I've faced discrimination overtly in the Coast Guard as some of the folks in history have faced when they were being the first Black female in the Coast Guard or the first Black person, period, joining the Coast Guard. The discrimination may be a little bit different than what I face today versus what happened in the past. But I will tell you this, that for all the work that folks did in the past, it's paved the way for me to enjoy this career and do what I'm doing now. And all the work that we're doing now, it's going to make it that more enjoyable for you guys to go out and do whatever you want in the future, whether it's in the Coast Guard or outside of the Coast Guard.
Excellent. Okay, so we have.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ms. Campbell. We've got about 2 more minutes, so we're going to take one more question. And the next person I had in line was Kenza. What's your question, darling?
When were you so interested in this job?
I think I heard you. Why am I so interested in this job?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You know, I wish I knew the answer. Why? All I know is that I get pure joy from doing this work. I was always drawn to it. I was always drawn to aviation. I was always drawn to flying. And then when I learned about the mission of the Coast Guard, I just felt like I was drawn to it. And I don't necessarily know why, other than it feels good to make a positive impact in somebody else's life. If someone is in distress, to be able to have this skill set to help them really, really makes me feel happy, you know? And I think the bottom line is that that's probably why I do what I do. It's just because it's serving others and it's helping others.
Absolutely. I'm going to call you a hero because
Thank
all
you.
those great things that you've already described to us sound phenomenal. We're getting a lot of thank yous in the chat. I know classes have to get on to the next period of the day. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you for your awesome questions. Thank you for your time and for spending time with us. Unmute yourselves, everybody, and everybody say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
1, 2, 3. Say
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
You guys don't know how to Zoom, do you?
Thank you.
Adorable. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Muchas gracias de la clase de español de Jeanine. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we're popping over to the next one. We've got one more presentation of the day. So I thank you so much for your time. That was amazing. That was amazing.
Yay. Thank you. Okay. All right. Good luck on your last presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.